Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, we are back for the second part today. This is a summary of the whole course, if you like. Very brief, to the point. I'm hoping you would have recognized the first three groups that we covered yesterday. It's good to just revise that very quickly. So the first group, and it's good to see it in light of Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Fatiha. Because Surah Al-Fatiha is the dua of our fitrah. Naturally, we want guidance as a human being. So the response to this dua is the revelation of guidance, Al-Qur'an Al-Kareem, exemplified by the Messenger Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam. Jazakallah khair. So the first group of surahs, like we looked at yesterday briefly, from Al-Baqara until Al-Ma'idah, we see that Allah Ta'ala, He is giving us a sharia, a way of life that will guide us not only as a person but as a family, as a society, as a group of people who believe in this guidance to be from Allah. Second group, then it shows us how did the Prophet ﷺ invite to this message. And the third group that we looked at yesterday is to motivate us, to show us that haqq will prevail over batil eventually. You just have to carry on sticking to the haqq. Yeah? This is a very brief summary of what we were looking at yesterday. Today, inshallah, we will look at the remaining four groups, 4, 5 and 6. So let's inshallah start to look at what we aim to do today. So again, this is what we were doing yesterday. First group, based on Iman, Islam, our vision. Who can remind us of the vision? Yes? Sorry? So you have Iman, then you have Islam. So you have belief, you have action. And then your vision, what you want to achieve, what you want to do, what you want to get. Anyone? Gone blank. Yes. Shahada al-Nas. Who can briefly tell us what Shahada al-Nas is before we move on? Quickly. Anyone? Spread Islam. Not really. Need to be precise. Yeah. Think of the word Shahada al-Nas. What you're saying is generally correct. Good. Being witnesses over mankind that we actually really conveyed the message. We were there. We were witnessing it. We were recording ourselves doing it as if. And Allah Ta'ala witnessed that we did it. This is Shahada al-Nas, yeah? And in order to do that, we need to do two things. What are they, very quickly? Infaq, which means exhaust all resources. And jihad. Excellent. We do this by doing what in Surah Al-Imran? How do we build a community? Taqwa. How to be united? How? Rope of Allah, which is the... What is the rope of Allah? Al-Qur'an as explained by Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yeah? And then do not be what? Divided. To build this, we need to do what in Surah An-Nisa? Family. Main focus there is roles within the family system, yeah? Good. And finally, Surah Al-Ma'idah is talking about what?
Strong nation.
Okay, so, yeah, strong nation, but what?
Addressing the Nisara.
Sorry, sister? We haven't got that far yet. That's group 2, inshallah. Al-Ma'idah is telling us that you as a collective solid structure Because you have been united through Qur'an. So now what do? Very good. You establish your guidance as a lifestyle in every facet, every aspect of your life, and then you can become the beacon of light for the others. Yeah? So this was group 1, Sharia. Group 2 then went on to talk about a concept called Itmamul Hujjah. What does it mean? Sorry, sister, I can't hear, sorry. So they're the signs, but Itmamul Hujjah, what does it mean? This. Go on, sister. Okay. The punishment comes as a consequence of Itmamul Hujjah.
Everything needs to be understood to the people who understood it.
Very good. You have exhausted every effort. You have left no stone unturned in explaining the message clearly in different ways, again and again and again and again and again, and it goes on until the person or the nation in this context has completely, fully, comprehensively, without shadow of a doubt understood the message, the consequence of accepting it and the consequence of rejecting it, and now there is nothing left but they know it. This is Itmamul Hujjah. As a consequence, as the sister was saying, then the punishment comes. Like the people of, which people from the past?
Specific people.
So the specific audience, good. The specific audience of Nuh alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam and Lut. 3 more. The people of Ad, the people of Thamud. Yeah? Good, and Lut. Excellent. These 6 are mentioned again and again in the Quran. You'll find 6 of these. And then it showed us that how this sunnah of Allah, which means you can say a trend if you like. Yeah. Messenger is sent, message is clear, it's been received, understood. Punishment comes then if you still reject. The form it took in the messengerhood of the Prophet ﷺ is slightly different. Yeah, slightly different. There it was called a natural disaster, if you like, in the past. Now the punishment came, but it came in stages, and it came through people rather than the air, the wind, the sea, the flood, etc. Yeah? Form changed, that's all. That was the second group of surahs, showing us the methodology of conveying the message by showing people signs in creation, Allah's blessings, Allah's greatness, signs in history, etc. And then what was group 3? So sister said good, motivation, and brother said haqq and batil. Any elaboration? Anything else you'd like to add to that? Just quickly revising, so we are yani. Haqq is fact, batil is fiction. What else? Haqq always prevails. Eventually, yeah? It takes time though, yeah? It's not instant. It takes time. You persevere, you have sabr. And then eventually batil has to crumble because it has no legs to stand on. This is batil, yeah? Batil is a notion, a concept, an idea, etc., whatever, that doesn't have any actual basis for it. So the different things that we call haqq, of course, starting with Allah Ta'ala, He is al-haqq, and then His messenger is haqq, the message is haqq, and then Qur'an is haqq, and then the death is haqq, the deen is haqq, the day of judgment is haqq. I'm just repeating what you're saying. Yeah? Good. Alhamdulillah. So we have an idea now of the first 3 groups. Sharia given, this is how you live. Vision is convey the message. Second group, this is how you convey the message. Third group, Keep conveying it. You will be victorious in the end. Inshallah, Ameen. Any question to this, what I've just summarized? In fact, you have summarized. I've just relayed what you've said to me so that everybody can hear it. Okay, Alhamdulillah. What we're going to do now, inshallah, is summarize very quickly the next 4 groups, 4, 5 and 6. Group 4 looks at the Risala, which is the messengerhood of the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam. Group 5 looks at Tawheed, oneness of Allah. The last looks at what will happen after the last day, Akhirah. Yeah? We now have to subdivide these 3 into 2 groups, if you like, in parallel. Throughout these 3 groups, we will find the first sections, which are the majority of the sections, they're Makki surahs. Yeah? We find how to give proofs and how to answer queries and how to convey the message of Risala, Tawheed and Akhirah. Yeah? In all 3. Essentially, it's teaching us how to give dawah. Yeah? Whole Quraan is dawah manual, whole of it. All of it. There's no Islam without dawah. Muslim cannot be Muslim without giving dawah. Because Surah Al-Asr said so, Surah Al-Asr. Yeah? We'll come to that. So we will find in these surahs what are the proofs that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is the messenger. What are the proofs that only Allah should be worshipped, etc. What are the proofs that there is an Akhirah? Yeah? Who are the addresses of these? Who's the audience for these proofs? Think about it. Yani, if we look at this context, we are inviting somebody to believe in this, so that group of people who we're inviting, who are they? They're not believers, yeah? They don't believe in these things, because that's why we're inviting them. Throughout these 3 groups of surahs, one main audience is people who don't believe. Second audience is us, believers. Yeah? Allah Ta'ala is telling us in these 3 groups of surahs, near the end of the groups, people who believe in this, Risala, Tawheed, Akhirah, if you want to test, or rather not test, if you want to know whether or not you really believe in this, you must do certain things. You must meet certain criteria. Another way of looking at it, if you believe in the Risala of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah has certain expectations of you now. If you believe in Tawheed, Allah has certain expectations of you now. If you believe in the Akhirah, Allah has certain expectations of you. So you could say the expectations from believers. Is it clear? Any question about this quick summary? Ask if something's not clear, let's ask so that it's clear. Because if this is clear, then what inshallah follows will make more sense. Any question? No question? Itmam al-Hujjah is done on you? No. Joking. Okay, so take a minute, explain this to each other. Take a minute. Explain what we have just summarized for the last 3 groups. One person to another person. Take a minute, please. Bismillah. Your time starts. All of it. All of it. Jazakumullah khair. Any question as a result of that? Anything you'd like clarification on? Maybe you were stuck in explaining it or you were not clear about something. Yes, Bismillah.
Once again.
Okay, no problem. That's good, Alhamdulillah. So the brothers just asked to summarize. Essentially, the last three groups of surahs are teaching us how to give dawah. How to invite people to the Risala, the messengerhood of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. How to inform them of how do we know that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's a messenger. To remind people about Allah's oneness and what does that mean. What are the implications? What should be the result of a belief in only one God? And how do we know that there is an akhirah, and if there is, then what should we do about it? So this is the audience here, is people who don't believe. The other audience within these surahs are believers. What Allah expects from people who believe in Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as messenger. What should they be doing? What should they be like? People who believe in Allah, what does it actually mean? How is it exhibited in a person's heart, mind, actions, etc.? Tawheed. And if you really believe in akhirah, then what should you be using your time on this earth for? Yeah, this is essentially a summary of the whole three groups. Any other question? Happy? Clear? Okay. We will now start to, inshallah, take each group in turn now. So we are now in, if we look at this table, we're looking at the last three groups. Yeah? Risala, Tawheed, Akhirah. The surahs are given there. Surah Al-Furqan to Surah Al-Ahzab is this group, fourth group. Surah As-Saba to Al-Hujurat, fifth group. And the last is from Qaf to An-Nas. Let's focus on Ar-Risala. Risala, you can say, we say Rasul. Rasul is the one that has been sent. Arsala yursilu. Risala is the message and the messengerhood responsibility of conveying the message. Clear? Good. I have tried to make it easy by breaking it down into 5 proofs that this group teaches us. Of course, this is a very, very brief summary. This is just a starter, if you like, framework. What are the 5 main proofs given for the prophethood and messengerhood of the Prophet ﷺ? So if we look in history, what was the proof that Musa was a messenger? What was the proof for the people of his time?
The miracles.
So give us some.
About this, the staff eating the serpent.
So the staff eating the serpent, a miracle, yeah? A sign. Anything else? The commandments, you could say, yeah, but miracles.
Being called up to the Mount Sinai.
Sorry?
Being called up to the Mount Sinai.
Okay, being called up to the Mount Sinai, but was that a miracle?
Speaking.
So the speech he had with Allah, but the visible miracle that people could see, like the staff. His stick, yeah, the asa. The hand shining bright, yeah. Musa alayhi salam was given this. He was given how many signs according to the Quran? Ayatin, 9. Yeah. Isa alayhi salam, what miracles did he have to prove his messenger? Cure the sick. Which specifically what type of sickness? Leprosy. What else? The blind. What else? What else could he do that was wow? He spoke in the cradle, yes. He would create out of clay a bird and he would blow into it and it would become a real bird. All the Quran mentions all this.
Sheikh, I'm just going to go back to one point.
No problem.
You mentioned nine signs of Musa's prophet, or is there like a reference or anything?
Quran, there's a surah, there's a ayah, I'll give it to you inshallah. I don't remember it off the top of my head. This ayatin, bayyinatin, yeah. So now the Messenger Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has come, and they're saying, okay, you say Moses had a stick, a staff, where's your staff? You said Isa could bring back the dead. Quran mentions he did, bi'idhnillah, by Allah's permission. You do the same. Yeah? They have a reason, they have a justification to ask for miracles like that, yeah? But what's the response? Non-Muslim says to you, show me the proof of the messenger, of this messenger, like Moses and Jesus showed. What's your response?
If you didn't show them the miracles and it didn't do it afterwards, it would be bad for them.
That's true, that's the sunnah, you're right. But the question is, go on.
Splitting of the moon.
That was I'm saying today, John in Halifax, on the bus, he says, what's the proof of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam?
The greatest miracle in itself was the Quran.
The Quran, absolutely. Al-Quran. Quran is the biggest proof, everlasting, ever-living proof of the messengerhood of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Who can elaborate? How is it a proof?
So the things that mentioned in the Quran, the Prophet would have never known.
Okay, things that he didn't know. Past and present and future, yeah? Good, that's one. What else?
Couldn't read or write. So
He himself couldn't read or write. So how is he coming with this kalam? Which is amazing. What else?
The language itself.
The language itself, what do you mean?
The language itself is, you can't translate it dot for dot in any other language in the world as well. It's got such high grammar.
How is that a miracle?
It's not the dialect that the Arabs used at that time.
Okay, let's keep it simple. You're right. What you're saying is correct. I'm just trying to make it simple. Because of time, that's all, yeah. Preservation of Quran. Who can elaborate on preservation of the Quran? What does that mean?
Surely we have sent down the zikr and surely we will guide it, and it's preserved in the hearts of men.
Excellent. Allah Ta'ala has preserved it, kept it safe from Al-Fatiha to An-Nas in the heart, and in writing, and explanation. Unfortunately, we don't understand this correctly. Many Muslims, we say, I spoke to some colleagues at work, I said, you know what, you should read the Quran and its meaning. First problem they come with, what is it? There's so many understandings, I'm going to get confused. That's the biggest misunderstanding about Quran. As if to say Allah sent a book that can't make sense to you. Yeah? No, Allah Ta'ala in Surah Al-Qiyamah, Allah Ta'ala mentions, we have preserved the Quran, showed you how to recite it, and we have taught you its explanation, bayana. Anyway, that's a long topic, yeah? So the first and most, the biggest proof of the Risala of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is Quran, its preservation, the continuity of the Quran, etc. There are many facets, there's about 8 or 9 we can go into, but because of time, yeah? Okay, good. So that's one. So Alhamdulillah, you've made my life easy. You've already, Alhamdulillah, told us the first one that I was going to cover. Fitrah. Take this next point, fitrah. What do I mean by that? Who can tell us what fitrah is from yesterday?
Natural disposition of an individual.
The natural disposition of an individual. What does that mean to anybody?
Like Allah has created human beings on fitra, like Muslim, but then the community and the group of the people, we make them, divide them into Christianity, Islam.
Okay, so Allah Ta'ala created us on the natural inclination of fitrah. What's the explanation of fitrah? We did it yesterday, quickly, briefly we did it.
the reality of existence.
That's Iman.
That is the creator.
That there is a creator. We instinctively know that. I didn't explain that in much detail, but it's important, I think we should do it now. When we say that it is instinctively built in us that we know there is a creator, we see this manifest itself, this instinct, in certain conditions. When we are in real trouble. Yep. Quran mentions this. When they board a ship and the storm suddenly comes. Who do they ask for help? Only Allah. Any human being, when he or she is in dire straits and about to, that's it, got no other hope, instinctively looks up for help. This is in our fitrah, yeah? When you are overwhelmed with joy, happiness, your dream has come true, you're so happy, you instinctively look up to thank something. Fitrah. Yeah? Nobody can deny that. No human can deny that. And then we mentioned the moral compass, yeah? Roughly knowing right from wrong, feeling good when we do right, feeling wrong when we do wrong. These together, coupled together, these things, these instincts, they are fitrah. Briefly. What I mean here by fitrah is the message of the fitrah is the message that has been reflected in the Qur'an. It is in line with your fitrah. In Surah Rum, ayahs 30 to 34, Allah Ta'ala mentions about the fitrah. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. Allah Ta'ala created every human on this fitrah. You know what fitrah means linguistically? You know, in Ramadan we do iftar, yeah? Iftar. Iftar is the same root word as fitrah. Fatara. Fatara. What does iftar mean? What is it? I mean, I'm not asking what you're imagining right now by iftar, but because I'm sure we're imagining similar things. But what does iftar actually mean? What do we call it in English? Opening of fast. Yeah? Break fast.
Yes.
You break something. Fatara means to break something up, open something. Fitrah is as if Allah Ta'ala opened us, put something in us, then He closed it. This is in us. Fitrah. Yeah? Very simple way of understanding it. Without any more detail, Luqman was known by the Arabs and looked up to as a wise person. Surah Luqman. They asked the Prophet ﷺ, what do you know about Luqman? They were trying to catch the Prophet ﷺ out. Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Qur'an, in Surah Luqman, the summary of Luqman's teachings that he gave to his son. His teachings were based on a pure fitrah. His teachings are exactly what the Prophet ﷺ is teaching. You got to understand this scenario, yeah? They've come to challenge the Prophet ﷺ to say that Luqman is a person we look up to, he was wise, etc. What do you know about him? Allah Ta'ala tells them this is the story and this is the summary of his teachings, which is exactly what this messenger is bringing. So now you got a problem. You believe in Luqman, you have to believe in Muhammad ﷺ. Because you say he was wise, he's saying the same thing. You can't contradict yourself. Yeah? Another proof. The fitrah. Okay, third one. You have mentioned it already, I'll just, because it's listing it, so it's easier. Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 3. Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 3 is telling us of a prediction, without any detail, of something that was unimaginable at the time. That the Romans will conquer the Persians after they had been devastated by the Persian Empire. Unbelievable, unimaginable. Yep. Sometimes I explain this by saying, I don't personally know much about football, but people usually relate to football a lot. You know, like you have a league of football teams. The team at the bottom, I'm not going to ask you what team because you're going to start having a fight over it. No, you're not. Imagine that team suddenly comes to the top of the league overnight. It's like unimaginable, yeah? It's not going to happen. So the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't, but Allah Ta'ala told him that this is what's going to happen within a period of 9 years, which was unimaginable, unbelievable, couldn't happen. And it happened. So another proof of the Prophet ﷺ's risala is the news he gave of things to come. They actually happened the way it was told. There are many other aspects to this, but that's one other aspect. His personality itself. What was the title given by the Quraysh to him, his own people?
Al-Amin.
Al-Amin, which means not just trustworthy, the most trustworthy, the most. Al. And As-Sadiq, the most honest. Quraysh, they themselves gave them this title, which means there is nobody else more truthful, more trustworthy, more honest in that whole society than the Prophet ﷺ, yeah? You say yourself. Then if you say you don't believe in what it says, then you're contradicting yourself. You see that? Another proof of his personality. For 40 years you have seen what he is like. You know, they say if you want to really know somebody, travel with them, yeah? If you can't live with them, travel with them. They knew him inside out. يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. The scholars, especially of the people of the book and the Quraysh, they recognized him as you know your children. You know what your children are like, yeah? You know what's going to make them happy, sad, etc. Allah Ta'ala is saying, you know him. Why you deny him? You're denying yourself. You're contradicting yourself. That's another proof. Fifth proof. Continuity of the message. What does that mean? Continuity of the message. Oops, Bismillah. The message. If we look at Surah Shu'ara, which is the poets, ayat 162 to 164, I'll write it here, Shu'ara, 162 to 164. Allah Ta'ala in this surah, He tells us again the stories of the 6 messengers. And after every one of them, something is mentioned, or rather within every one of them, the message is mentioned. Let's look at the message. Yarhamukallah. Ash-Shu'ara. Let's take 162. I've just taken one part of it, although it's throughout. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إني لكم رسول أمين فاتقوا الله وأطيعوني. Same message, all the messages gave. What is it? Number 1, فاتقوا الله وأطيعون, which means be conscious of the rights of Allah upon you, how to obey Him, how to worship Him, follow my example. Surah Al-Shu'ara, throughout it you will find, inshallah, when you study it, there is the continuity of the message of every single messenger throughout history. They all came with the exact same message. U'budullah, worship only Allah. We mentioned ibadah yesterday. Yeah? All of them said the same thing. And Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's just saying the same thing. So what's the problem? You see that? Continuity of the message throughout history, same message. All the messengers said exactly the same thing. Just think about that. Does that make sense or not? That makes perfect sense. So that's another aspect. Of course, every aspect that I'm mentioning needs elaboration, which we don't have time for today. So very briefly, the proofs of the messengerhood of the Prophet ﷺ, the Qur'an itself is the greatest one, really. The fitrah of man reflected in the Qur'an. The predictions that he gave, they're not really predictions, they are ilm that Allah gave him. His personality and the continuity of the message. There are other aspects, but you need to keep it brief. Any question about that so far? Are we clear? Are we happy? We following? Am I going too fast or too slow? It's challenging to be honest. I've never done it in this time frame, but alhamdulillah, I'm giving it a go. I usually have more time. Are we comfortable? Anybody hot, cold? It's important. Hot, cold, anybody? Happy? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So these are the proofs. What are the main barriers why they didn't believe? Any ideas? What were the main barriers? Because as da'is, we need to know what are the real barriers that stop people from believing even once they're convinced.
We didn't find the forefathers upon Tawheed.
Okay, number 1 is their tradition, yeah? Let's say tradition, good. What else?
The leaders. The leaders, what you've got to follow it.
So leadership is similar to tradition, yeah? Okay? What else? Yeah. Pride, that's the biggest problem. Anything else? What else do you think? To be honest, pride covers everything more or less. Sisters, any ideas? So we're assuming that they know about everything now. It's not ignorance. So if we assume that they knew everything, it's been explained. I'm assuming ignorance means not knowing. And if you mean something else, tell us. Okay, good. That's more or less what we find. We find in Surah Qasas, ayahs 49 to 50. I want you to make notes of this because I want you to go and study this stuff. Inshallah. The main problem is they followed their desire. Followed desire. Hawa. Hawa. La tattabi'ul hawa. The main problem was hawa. Let's see this. Qasas 49 to 50. Surah Al-Qasas 49 to 50. In fact, we take this beautiful 2 ayat. I was mentioning this to, I think, you yesterday when we were talking about something. You know, sometimes in dawah you have to turn the tables around. Yeah? Here, Allah Ta'ala is teaching us how to turn the tables around. Yeah? They're bringing all these allegations, all these arguments. Allah Ta'ala is saying, okay, say to them, قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ إِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَأَهْدَى مِنْهُمَا أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Allah Ta'ala is saying to the Prophet ﷺ, tell them, just wait. Bring a scripture from Allah which is more guiding, which is better than what I have brought. Either of them means Tawrat, Injil, etc. Then I will even follow it. Bring something more guiding, then bring it. Holistic guidance that helps humanity in every aspect of life, with evidence, with proof that is rationally sound. What else did we say about, what am I talking about yesterday? When we said rationally sound, morally sound, intellectually sound, haqq, yeah, haqq, good. Allah Ta'ala is saying, tell them, bring it then, with your proof, bring your proof. Then Allah Ta'ala is telling them, the problem is not that you're not convinced. The problem is this. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكَ. Then Allah Ta'ala is saying to the Prophet ﷺ, if they do not respond to you, they can't. فَعْلَمْ, then you should know, the actual problem is أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. They are actually just following their whims, their desires. And within that you can bring in tradition, forefather worship, pride, etc. It all can come within that. And then Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِّنَ اللَّهِ. This is a very, very, very important part of the ayah. We must understand this in today's day and age. Allah Ta'ala is saying, who is more misguided, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ, from them or from amongst those who follow their desire in the absence of Allah's guidance. What that means is that if any person thinks that they are guided without the guidance of Allah, they are actually misguided. Did you understand that? Is that clear? You will find people, inshallah, and I'm encouraging you to interact with non-Muslims. Invite them to this center. Invite them wherever you can, inshallah. We'll talk about that. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, tea. Mashallah, our food is very, alhamdulillah, inviting, yeah? Sit down, eat with them and tell them about Islam. Many of them may say, this is my experience, that I believe in what you're saying, but you know what, I'm happy, I don't harm anybody, I just want to do my own thing. This ayah is telling us it's not good enough. It's not good enough, yeah? Because your desires will actually lead you astray if they are not guided or channeled by Allah Ta'ala's Sharia. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. And these people who wrong themselves by following their desires in the absence of Allah's guidance, they end up doing injustice to themselves, etc. Okay, so so the first barrier from understanding and accepting the message is desire worship. Another one we have from this section of surahs is the same surah, 57 to 58. In this, Allah Ta'ala is telling us, this is the specific audience of the Prophet ﷺ, but it is general, to be honest, even today. People fear losing power and leadership. They fear that we're going to lose our status. The Quraysh were known as those people who used to take care of the people who came for Hajj, Umrah, etc. Yeah? They had a status in Arabia. They were known for that. Their fear was that if we follow this man, although we know he's right, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we're going to lose this status. We will become ordinary. Unfortunately, what they didn't realize was that eventually the Prophet ﷺ will have this status anyway. So if you want this status, you should actually follow him, because he'll eventually come to this status anyway, if that's what you're really aiming for. So status and power is another big barrier to accepting the message. We need to know this, because when we are giving da'wah, and you can, I can, we can become very frustrated sometimes. That you understood everything, then what's your problem? Now it happens. Know that only Allah guides. Only Allah guides. Every one of us needs guidance every second of our life. You know, in our azkar that we do in the morning, evening, وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. We ask Allah, don't leave me to my own desires for even the twinkling of my eye. I need Allah's guidance that much as a human being. So these are some of the barriers. Are there any questions at this point? Are we clear, happy, comfortable? Okay. Last thing we need to look at now is, what does now this mean to me and you? What are the expectations of Allah from those who believe in Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? First thing we need to look at is Surah Furqan, Ayah 30. Surah Al-Furqan, Ayah 30. So the expectations of Allah from the people who believe in Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This ayah is telling us that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said to his specific audience when he was alive, this ayah, addressing them. And then on the Day of Judgment, he will address his general audience, the whole Ummah, who didn't accept or didn't convey the message. Well, I'll elaborate. وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّي. And the messenger said, as I said in the past, and he will say on the Day of Judgment, Ya Rabb, inna qawmi ittakhadhu hadha al-Qur'ana mahjura. My specific and my general audience, they did not accept the message. In fact, they treated this Qur'an as something mahjura. Now, mahjura here is translated as abandoned. Mahjura is something that you think that it's not of much value. I don't need this. You know, hijrah. Hijrah is to leave a place which is not good for a place which is better, isn't it? It's hijrah. So this is you can say we call it shikwa. Shikwa. This is the complaint of the Prophet ﷺ against his ummah. Make a note of 5 things now. There are 5 levels of the complaint of the Prophet ﷺ against the ummah, whether they believe or not. Yeah? First complaint that the Prophet ﷺ will have is people didn't believe in this Qur'an. That's number 1. Second level of complaint is they believed in it but they didn't read it. So the first is belief, second is reading or reciting. Third level of complaint. They believed in it, recited it. What do you think the third one is? Didn't understand it. Made no effort to understand the Quran. Were happy to just read it without knowing what it means. It's a bit like following Google Maps in Japanese. You can't unless you know Japanese, yeah? You don't know what's happening. Fourth level of shikwa, complaint. They believed in it, recited it, understood it, but didn't act upon it. And the fifth level of complaint, what is it? Did not convey the message. Yes? If we really love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we would spend everything that we have in our capacity to convey the message. Everything. From head to toe. Everything. Because we would live a purposeful life. We would have a vision and a mission in life. We would believe, of course, we believe in Qur'an as Kalamullah. We would read it as it should be, with tajweed, etc. We would understand it, as we are trying, inshallah. We would try to act upon it, and we would convey the message. All these things happen together. Shaitan says, you don't know the Qur'an, don't talk about it. No. Talk about what you know, and then learn what you don't. And this is a lifelong process, isn't it? Nobody can say, I know the whole Qur'an. Even the Prophet ﷺ was taught the Qur'an. Yeah? Allah Ta'ala, He sent Jibreel Islam. So this is the responsibility of this ummah, as we said in Al-Baqara, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. This ummah, the leaders of humanity, have been given this task to convey this message. This is what's expected from those who believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's as a community. The other aspect that I want to highlight to you, inshallah, is from Surah Al-Ahzab, about our relationship with the Prophet ﷺ. We should love Muhammad ﷺ more than anything else after Allah. Awla bil mu'minin. Yes? But you can only love somebody that you know. So we should learn about him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The best way to learn about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is read Quran in light of his seerah. Understand Quran in light of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah? And you will love him as your role model. You look up to him. And for the believers, may Allah make us from amongst them, Allah, He puts the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the heart. Yeah? You love him instinctively because you have iman. But then it blossoms when you get to know him more. You get to know what he stood for, justice. He is the person in history until the last day who really stood up for first Allah's rights, then human rights. People want us to think of just human rights. What about Allah's rights? Shaitan, he's playing these games. Just think of human rights and neglect Allah's rights. No. Allah's right comes first, and if you fulfill Allah's rights, you will automatically fulfill human rights. So love the Prophet ﷺ more than anything. See him as a role model. Fi Rasulillahi uswatun hasana. Role model in every aspect of life. Aid his mission. Aid his mission. His mission is what? Convey the message. Which message? Where is it? Where's this message? The Quran. Al-Quran. This is the message. Make it our priority in life to understand this message. Priority, number one. Give our children very simple goals from a very young age. Read Quran with meaning. My children, alhamdulillah, I tried, alhamdulillah, it's working so far. May Allah make it a success, inshallah, eventually, for all of us, ameen. I said to my children, and may Allah bless my wife, Mashallah, she's the biggest support. I said, when you start reading English, if you can read English and you are doing Quran, you can't read Quran without meaning. You're not allowed. You will read Quran and you will read meaning. Alhamdulillah, there's habit now. Habit. If you read one page, you must read meaning. It becomes a habit. When your children becomes a habit. Make that change today, inshallah. If it's not happening, do it. You will see the blessing of it. Your children, my children, our children will become independent students of Quran. We are all busy. Teach them to learn the Quran by reading. They may not understand a lot of it. No problem. Let them read. They will become habitual to learning the Quran with meaning from a young age, and when you're older, you will go back to that. That's what we do, isn't it? We go back to what we used to do when we were young. And then inshallah, all their life, they will read Quran with meaning, and when we're in the grave, we'll get the ajr, inshallah. Ameen. Yeah? Aid his mission. Send salawat upon the Prophet ﷺ. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka hamidun majid. Whenever his name is mentioned, alayhi salatu wassalam. So Surah Al-Ahzab, beautiful surah, it really gels the believers together through the love of Rasulullah ﷺ. Yeah? Emotionally, we can be united if we love Rasulullah ﷺ and we aid his mission, emotionally. And rationally, we can be united if we understand Quran. Then we won't differ. We won't differ. Yeah? But that's for us. If we really mean business about unity, then this is what we need to do. This is how we need to go about it. Otherwise, we're just talking about it. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Any questions about the fourth group, Risala? We looked at the proofs, the barriers to believing, and we looked at expectations of Allah from the people who say they believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any question? We'll have a break, inshallah. Any question before that? We're happy, comfortable? Okay, let's take 5-minute break, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Any question about group 5? Sorry, Jazakumullah khair. Any question about group 4? Risala, we mentioned the proofs, the barriers and the expectations. Clear? Happy? Okay, Bismillah. Let's start with now the 5th group, which is Tawheed. What does Tawheed mean? Unity. What else? One. What else? Identity. It can be, yani. Every person is unique, you could say, yes. But regarding Allah, let's focus on this. What does it mean in terms of Allah? Oneness of Allah, what does it mean? Yeah, what's all that about?
There's an advanced classes.
Hey, mashallah. You're right. Okay. Let's look at this, inshallah. Where are my notes? Here they are. Let's start with Fitra again, yeah? Fitra. It's all about Fitra. Dawah is all about Fitra, yeah? Dawah is heart to heart. Yeah? Dawah is heart to heart. In our Fitra, we recognize Allah. When we reflect, Allah Ta'ala invites us to reflect in the Quran. Reflect in your own creation. Where did you start from? Allah Ta'ala created the first human out of what? Clay. Teen. Turab. Turab is dust. Teen is clay. Lazib is sticky clay. Hama'im masnoon, dark sticky clay. Kal fakhar, it gets dried and it becomes something that resonates sound in it. Stages of man's creation in Quran mentioned. When this body was created and finished, left to dry as, yani just to explain. Then Allah Ta'ala, He entered what into it? Ruh. Yeah? Good. Look at your own creation, reflect. How did this all happen? Reflect on creation around you. How did it all come about? Did it come about itself? Did you create it? And not only its creation initially, it's still running consistently. Laws of nature, they are the same. Gravity, air, oxygen, water, sunshine, etc., etc. Reflect. When you reflect on your own creation and creation around, the fitrah says there is Rabb, the one who created and is sustaining, giving everything. He's making everything tick over, if you like, maintaining it, allowing the creation to prosper, allowing the creation to grow, providing all the needs. This leads to a sense and an instinct I mentioned yesterday of shukr. Shukr. What does shukr mean? Appreciation, thankfulness. What else? Gratitude. Wanting to say thank you. Appreciating things. The more we study the world, the sciences, the more gratitude we should have for Allah. Because the more we discover the intricacy, the interdependency of things around us and how they all end up benefiting us, we should be more grateful to Allah for it, to be the way it is. Shukr, this instinct of gratitude, needs to be channeled. It needs to take a form where we feel that we have said thank you. In the past, people thought the sun is the source of all good, because it makes the sun makes the crops grow, the water cycle, etc., etc. So they started to thank the sun by bowing in front of it, Sunday, worshipping the sun. Yeah? People realized the interaction of the moon and how we benefit from it. They started to worship the moon. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he says that all of this comes and goes. This can't be the Rabb, because this itself needs a Rabb. So he says, "Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi fatara as-samawati wal arda hanifa." I turn my instinct of gratitude towards the one who initially created all of this from nothing for our benefit, and I only and solely focus on that one who created everything. This is our fitrah. Shukr leads to ibadah. We mentioned ibadah yesterday. What is ibadah?
Sheikh, did we say something about shukr for negative things as well?
Yes, good, very good, Mashallah, ahsant. Shukr for negative is what we should say. Let me clarify. Technically, we should say Alhamdulillah for everything. Alhamd is the technically we should use for anything that happens good and any misfortune. You lose something, for example, you lose £5. You say Alhamdulillah. There's some benefit in it, I don't know, for me. Yeah? Shukr, we only use the word technically shukr for something that is good. Yeah, so that's one thing I need to clarify before I go on ahead. But we should say Alhamdulillah in every aspect of our life. If you look at the story of Musa and Khidr, it teaches us what we see is not the whole story. There are things behind the scene that are happening that we can never understand with our limited sensory ability. Yeah? As long as the person is trying his or her best to obey Allah and the Messenger, and we all make mistakes, we are human, trying, and something happens that is not good, is not positive, is negative, say Alhamdulillah. Yeah?
do not get too down about it. I don't know, maybe that addresses what you said. Jazakallah khair for the question. Ibadah leads to believing and worshipping, which means obeying, loving the most, obeying only, solely Allah. Ilah. Now we say La ilaha illallah. Inshallah, when we do the full day, I'll explain ilah in more detail, the word. But now, just for now, yani. Our whole love and our obedience, when it is directed as Allah guides us to direct it, yes, this is Tawheed. Tawheed is an action. Tawheed is not a dogma. It's not just a belief. Some religions, they have a belief which is not related to their actions in life. Yeah, they say we believe in something, but then we live the way we want to live, because belief does not have to affect my life. Okay? In fact, this is the biggest misguidance of shaitan currently. He says that you believe what you like, but do what the majority says. This is from shaitan. So Tawheed is an action which is a continuous action, continuous throughout life. It is always trying to make Allah Ta'ala number one. This is Tawheed. Yeah? Always trying to make Allah number one in whatever you do or you don't do. Before we do anything, we think, what does Allah want? What does He not want? This is taqwa, which allows us to attain, inshallah, and we're all trying to live a life of Tawheed. Is it clear? So making Allah number one, this is Tawheed. In every aspect of life. Individually, family, society, nation, global entity, global village, whole universe. In fact, the whole universe is living a life of Tawheed. Sabbaha lillahi ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Only the man and jinn were given the option, it's up to you. But for a very short period of time. You have an option for a short period of time. You can live a natural life as you see everything else doing what Allah wants, or you can choose not to, which is abnormal. But there's a consequence. Khair. So this is briefly Tawheed. Any question about that so far? We happy with that? Okay, let's move on. We have to now compare Tawheed with Shirk, otherwise we don't understand Tawheed properly if we don't compare it with Shirk. Shirk essentially, linguistically means partnership. Shuraka, partners. Shirk it means essentially to not give Allah His right. This is shirk. Yeah? To not give Allah His right. This is shirk. Very briefly. Tawheed means give Allah His due right, and in doing so you will give everything else its due right as well. You okay, brother? Brother, sorry, you can't go there now. Because sisters. Yeah, we have, no. Can somebody tell the brother what he can do? Please? Okay. So shirk is to not give Allah His due right, yeah? A word used for shirk that explains that clearly is dhulm. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Injustice. Injustice. What does it mean? It means not to give something its due right. This is dhulm, yeah? This is injustice, isn't it? You are owed £100. You worked and you owed £100. You only get 90. This is dhulm. £10 dhulm. You did not get what you should have got. So when we do not give, or anybody does not give Allah His right, this is injustice. Okay? 5 minutes will stop, yeah? Okay. Good. The aspects of dhulm or shirk that have been mentioned in this group of surahs, very briefly. Shirk in terms of asking help from other than Allah. Yeah. Allah Ta'ala mentions many times in the Quran, especially in this section, if you like to make a note, Fatir, Surah Fatir, Ayah 14. Allah Ta'ala is asking the people who are associating partners with Allah in any form, can these help you or harm you? And there's a really good example in Surah Hajj, in the end, of a fly. Yeah? A fly, if it takes something from a religious offering, the idol to whom it was offered, the idol cannot stop that fly. Yeah? And then Allah says something beautiful. ضَعْفَ الطَّالِبُ وَالْمَطْلُوبُ. You are weak, and the thing you are worshipping is weaker than you. Yeah? So you can't ask help from something that cannot help you. Another aspect of it, Allah Ta'ala asks, that which you are worshipping, did it create and did it sustain you or the universe? If it is not, then it is sustained and created by Allah. Then who should you worship then? Allah. Another aspect. Can these who you worship other than Allah give you a sharia? Give you a code of conduct that is going to help you to prosper, help you reach your full potential, naturally, productively? Another suggestion for people to think about their shirk. And I will take the last one. So this one, if you want this one, look at Surah Shura, Ayah 21. And the last one, in terms of legislation, shirk in legislation. Zukhruf, Ayah 51. Making things halal or haram. Only Allah has the right to do that. Only Allah. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us what is halal and haram because Allah Ta'ala, He told him what is halal and haram. Yeah? And the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was addressed by Allah Ta'ala in Surah At-Tahrim. Is it At-Tahrim? Ya ayyuhan nabi lima tuharrimu ma ahallallahu lak tabtaghi mardata azwajik. Oh Prophet, why did you make something haram upon yourself just to please your wives? Yeah? Allah Ta'ala is telling him, don't do that. Because if you do that, everybody else will just follow you. Yeah? So Allah Ta'ala, He has the sole right to make halal and haram. Because He knows perfectly everything. And He cares for us more than we can even imagine. So in these aspects of your life, do not bring anybody, anything in, because they don't have a right to have a say in these things. Is it clear? I'm rushing now because of time. I'm under a bit of pressure, time pressure. Okay? So I'm going to stop there. Inshallah. When we come back, we will take the rest of this group 5, which is now we will look at Tawheed briefly. And then we will look at requirements of the believers who say La ilaha illallah. What does Allah expect from them? And then inshallah we'll do group 6. Bi-idhnillah. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, let's continue then. So we mentioned this is the 5th group. And here we are focusing on Tawheed. How to remind people really. You can't teach people Tawheed, you remind them of Tawheed. Dawah is all about reminding people of what is inside them already. That's all it is. Simple as that. So we looked at shirk, which is, what is shirk? Who can tell us quickly? Having partnered with Allah. What else did we say? Not to give Allah His right. We hear a lot about human rights. Where's Allah's right? Yeah? Allah's right. Good. Let's look at Tawheed then in relation to shirk. We've talked about this. Let's compare it with Tawheed now. What does Allah Ta'ala tell us about Tawheed in this section? Let's look at His essence. In essence, Allah Ta'ala, He is unique. Yep. This is Surah Shura, Ayah 11. Let's look at the essence of Allah. Yeah? Who is Allah? This is Dhat, fi dhatihi. In His essence, who is Allah? Shura 11. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فاطر السماوات والأرض, the originator of the heavens and the earth. جعل لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا ومن الأنعام أزواجا. He has made you into pairs, you and your, the cattle, etc. يذرعوكم فيه. He multiplies you thereby. ليس كمثله شيء. This is the thing that we need to focus on. ليس كمثله شيء. There is nothing like unto Him. Nothing like Him. So the footnote there says, there is no similarity whatsoever between the Creator, Allah, and His creation in His essence, in any of His attributes, etc. Laysa kamithlihi shay. There is nothing like Allah Ta'ala. If you can imagine something, that's not Allah. Simple as that. Yeah? This is the biggest problem that people forget about when they don't believe in God. They start to equate their concept of God to something that they can imagine. So they become advisors to God suddenly. God should have done this, God should have done that, He didn't do this right, He could have done this. Yeah? Because they didn't understand who is Allah. There's nothing like unto Allah. We only know of Allah which is in our fitrah and what He has revealed in His wahi, His revelation. There is no other way of us knowing about Allah. So He has revealed to us His 99 names. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَدَعُوهُ بِهَا. Allah Ta'ala says, for Allah are the best names. So when you want to interact with Allah and ask Him for Him to respond to you, use those names. Yeah? Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, etc. So in Allah's essence, He is unique. He is unlike His creation. He created time and space. We can't imagine no time and space, can we? We can't. Allah created time and space. In His essence, He is unique. Okay. What does Allah want from us? He wants us to be khalis, pure, sincere, only to Him. Zumar, Surah Zumar, ayat 1 to 3. Let's look at this. Surah Zumar. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز الحكيم. This Quran, it is the revelation by Allah, who is the most powerful, irresistible, and He is the all-wise. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ بِالْحَقِّ. Allah is telling us He is the one who revealed this Quran بالحق, with truth. فَاعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. Mukhlis. This is a key term coming now that we need to keep in mind. Yeah, مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. The meaning here given is, so worship Allah being sincere to Him in religion. Deen is not actually religion. Yeah? Deen is not actually religion, to be very honest. To understand Deen, think about Surah Al-Fatiha. Maliki Yawmiddin. Yeah? Deen. Maliki Yawmiddin. What does it mean, Deen there? What does Deen mean there? Judgment. Judgment. Yawmiddin. Yeah? What does it mean? What does Deen mean? Judgment. What does that mean? What do we understand from that? Judgment. The day of judgment. What does it mean? What will happen? Yeah, you'll be held accountable. So what? What will happen as a result of account? Yeah, so the way you lived your life, the actions you did or didn't do. Excellent. Reward and punishment. Yeah? Reward or punishment. Okay? Deen. One meaning of Deen, yeah? Another meaning of Deen is the Sharia, the way of life that you have to live. Yeah? There are many others, but just to keep it simple for now. Essentially, Deen is that way of life according to which we will be judged on the Day of Judgment. Does it make sense? The rules that you have been given to follow, and you will be judged according to those rules. So if you do GCSE or A level, there is a syllabus, yeah? There's a specification. You must learn these things. This is what will come in the exam. Yeah? So Deen is your curriculum, if you like, your syllabus, according to which you will be judged on the Day of Judgment, and you will be rewarded or punished according to what you could or couldn't do, etc. Is it clear? Deen. So regarding your Deen, Allah Ta'ala is saying in this Surah Zumar, مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. So now we should understand this as make your Deen, which means everything that you do in your life, according to what Allah wants it to be. Is it clear now? مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. Purely. Not a bit of what Allah wants and a bit of what Allah doesn't want. Yeah? أُدْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً. Allah Ta'ala says, enter into Islam wholeheartedly, completely. أَلَا لِلَّهِ الدِّينُ الْخَالِصِ. And know for a fact that the Deen that Allah accepts is only that which is only for Him. He doesn't accept something for Him and something not for Him. He doesn't accept that. Yeah? So know that everything has to be purely for Allah. And then it gives us more detail given in the ayah. Okay, so the essence of Allah, we mentioned the essence of Allah, and Khalis Deen for Allah. Clear so far? Happy? Any question? Moving on. Dua. Dua only to Allah. Ghafir, Surah Ghafir, ayah 14. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. Hadith says, ad-du'a is the essence of ibadah. Yeah? Dua means you ask Allah Ta'ala, you ask for something that you cannot do yourself. In fact, nobody else can do. This dua. Surah Ghafir 14. Let's take two ayat to see the context, some context. 13 and 14. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. هو الذي يريكم آياته. Allah, He is the one who shows you His signs. وَيُنَزِّلُ لَكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ رِزْقًا. And He is the one who sends down for you provision from the sky, meaning the rain. وَمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ إِلَّا مَن يُنِيبُ. But none will remember this except the people who turn to Allah. Therefore, فَادْعُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. Therefore, you should only ask Allah Ta'ala in your du'as, making your deen khalis, pure for Allah. What does that mean? You know, there's a very famous hadith of a person who travels to Makkah, Ka'batullah, and he is disheveled. He has gone through this long journey now, dusty clothes, dusty hair, etc. And he is asking Allah, making dua. But regarding his dua, it is said in the hadith, Malbasuhu haram. His clothing from haram. Ta'amuhu haram. What he ate was haram. Mashrabu haram. What he drank was haram. Ghudhiya bil haram. He was nourished through haram. Meaning, his life was not purely as Allah wants it to be. Yeah? Kayfa tuqbal dua? The question is asked, how will Allah respond to this person's dua, who has not made his life for Allah in every aspect, but now he's asking for dua? Yes? So for dua to be accepted, the person's income has to be halal. Yes? Halal income. Eating halal. And trying our best, and we make mistakes, we are human, to try and do everything as Allah wants it. Through our understanding, as it grows, we improve. Mukhlisina lahuddin. Now Allah Ta'ala further He guides. When we hear this word mukhlis, 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 it means pure. Just for Allah, yeah? There's another word you need to make a note of. Mukhlas. Mukhlis, mukhlas. I'll write it in Arabic as well. In fact, I should have written it. Khair. Let's rewrite it. Mukhlis. Mukhlis. Which is, in English, we'll write it like this. Mukhlis with the I. And mukhlas. Mukhlas. I'll use you, yeah? Might be easier. Las. Okay? Mukhlis here is here, yeah? Mukhlis. We can see there is a kasra here, yeah? Underneath. Mukhlis. Here there's fatha, mukhlas. There's a difference. Mukhlis, mukhlas. Two terms. Mukhlis means the one who has devoted his or her life solely, sincerely to Allah. Mukhlis. Yeah? Mukhlas is the one whom Allah Ta'ala He now chooses for Himself. I'll repeat that, yeah? Mukhlis is the servant that says, I will do everything for Allah as Allah wants, trying. Mukhlis, sincere to Allah. When the person turns to Allah being mukhlis, trying to be pure for Allah, Allah Ta'ala He selects this person, mukhlas. Does that make sense? Clear? Any question about mukhlis, mukhlas? Both terms have been used in these surahs. Okay. We want to know now, how do we become mukhlas? And we want to know, how do we become mukhlis so that we become mukhlas? So what do we need to do so that Allah selects us? Isn't it? So Allah, He is the most beautiful in guidance. He guided us. If you take Surah Sad, Ayah 46 first. Allah Ta'ala is telling us in this one beautiful ayah, Inna akhlasnahum bi khalisatin dhikrad dar. Regarding the messengers and who follow them, the rest of the ayat I'm not going through at the moment. Allah Ta'ala says, we chose them for an exclusive quality. So we want to be chosen by Allah. What's the quality? The quality is remembrance of the home of the hereafter. Meaning the people who devote everything, they think of the hereafter first before they do anything in life, they are being pure to Allah. Yeah? Because they know they will meet Allah in the hereafter. When people live a life for the hereafter, Allah Ta'ala, He chooses them, selects them. And look at this beautifully. How then, what happens to those people who Allah selects? What do you think? In this dunya, what happened to the people in this dunya who Allah has chosen? Because they chose the hereafter. What do you think?
It makes him a faqih in the deen.
Sorry?
It makes him a faqih in the deen.
So He gives them understanding of the deen? Possibly yes. Yes, inshallah. What else? So He will test them. What else?
People love them.
People will love them, inshallah, for the sake of Allah.
Give him authority in the land.
Possibly. Yeah? Let's look at, all of this is correct, inshallah. Let's look at what this surah says. If we go to ayah 82 and 83. 82 and 83. This is a longer dialogue between shaitan, Iblis and Allah Ta'ala here. So we'll take just part of it. So shaitan is saying to Allah in 79, قَالَ رَبِّ فَانْذِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. Oh Allah, give me time until resurrection, yeah? To do what? To misguide everybody. Allah Ta'ala says, قَالَ فَإِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنذَرِينَ. Allah Ta'ala says, we give you the time, yeah? You do what you want to do. إِلَى يَوْمِ الْوَقْتِ الْمَعْلُومِ. Until that day, the time of which only Allah knows when the time will run out. And then shaitan, he responds, قَالَ, he said, فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. By your izzah, Ya Allah. He's swearing. He's saying, I will misguide all of them. All of them, Bani Adam. Illa, except. Shaitan is saying, I cannot misguide. Who? Ibadak, your servants. Minhum, from the progeny of Adam, al-mukhlasin, whom you have chosen to protect. Are you following this? People who choose the hereafter as their priority in life, Allah chooses them, protects them from shaitan in this life. Simple. That's it. Then when Allah protects, nobody can do anything. May Allah Ta'ala make us mukhlis and mukhlas. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Moving on then, inshallah. What is required of us as believers in Tawheed? Requirements. What does Allah require from us now? People who believe in Allah's oneness. So we understood oneness, Tawheed, and we understood shirk briefly, very brief. We have some idea, yeah? From Qur'an. The most important thing is that we are learning it from Qur'an. Qur'an says this is shirk, this is Tawheed, yeah? Inshallah. So we have firm haqq, we have basis for what we're saying from Qur'an, inshallah. First requirement is establish the deen. Now you understand what deen means. Everything that we do in our life is part of deen, because we will be judged according to it. Surah Shura, ayah 13. Shura, which means consultation. Ayah 13. Let's look at that. Shura 13. A long ayah, but very, very important. شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به نوحا والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى. Allah Ta'ala is saying to the Prophet ﷺ and the Ummah, He has ordained for you of religion, it says here, so you understand deen, what He enjoined upon Nuh and that which we have revealed to you, O Muhammad ﷺ, and what we enjoined upon Ibrahim and Musa and Isa. What was it that Allah Ta'ala, He told them all to do? An aqimu ad-deena wa la tatafarraqu fi. This is what Allah is expecting, to establish the deen. Live the deen. Don't just write about it, live it. And don't be divided in it. كَبُرَ عَلَى الْمُشْرِكِينَ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ. This is a big headache for the mushrikeen, what you are saying. They don't want this. They want to do what they want. They want to have a religion, they believe, but they do what they want. No. Allah Ta'ala is saying, don't contradict your belief by doing what you want, which is contrary to your belief. It should be all in line with one belief. Simple. It's simple, isn't it? Otherwise you become schizophrenic, schizophrenia. You believe something, do something else. Contradiction. Unhealthy. Yeah? Allahu yajtabi ilayhi man yasha'u wa yahdi ilayhi man yunib. Allah chooses for Himself whom He wills, and He guides whomever He wills to turn back to Him. So the expectation is that the believers in Allah's oneness who are mukhlis to Him, they will establish what Allah Ta'ala He has sent as Sharia. Shara'a. Shara is Sharia. Yeah? Okay, what else? Infaq and jihad. Allah expects from the believers now for His cause. I'll just give you reference, I won't go through it, inshallah. Muhammad, Surah Muhammad 31 and 38. Yep. Allah expects now the people who really believe in His oneness, they will spend their resources in conveying this message of His oneness by establishing it in their lives and calling other people to also join them. And we'll take 2 ayat from Hujurat. Ayah 1 and 15. To tell us what Allah expects from us as a collective Ummah. Yes? What Allah expects from the Ummah as a whole. This is what Allah Ta'ala expects. Surah Al-Hujurat. Ayah 1 first and foremost. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. O you who believe. So believers are being addressed by Allah. لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله. Do not put yourselves forward before Allah and His Messenger. واتقوا الله. Have taqwa of Allah. Inna Allah samiyun alim. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala, He hears and knows everything. لا تقدموا. What does it mean? لا تقدموا means do not budge an inch in your life without first knowing what does Allah Ta'ala say about what I'm about to do and what did Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say about it. This is what it means. Do not do anything unless you know what Allah and His Messenger have said regarding this thing. Yes? This is the expectation of Allah, of His believers, because if we do that, who will benefit? We will benefit. If we know what Allah wants in this situation and how did the Prophet ﷺ act upon the situation and we follow it, we benefit. This is the expectation of the people who believe in Allah and His oneness, to collectively live a life of obedience of Allah, as Allah has shown through His Messenger ﷺ. And ayah 15 of Al-Hujurat, Allah Ta'ala is saying the people who actually believe, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, the true believers are really these people Allah Ta'ala is telling us. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, the people who believe in Allah and His Messenger. ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا, then they have no doubts. وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, then they're happy to give their wealth, their resources and themselves in the cause of Allah, which is to convey the message. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ, they are true to their claim that they believe in Allah. So the requirement is act, infaq, and jihad. We mentioned in Surah Al-Baqara in the beginning. Yeah? Act upon this deen to convey the message with that vision. Okay. Any question at this point? So we looked at, in this fifth group, which is about Tawheed, we looked at what it means, Tawheed, briefly. We looked at Shirk, briefly, to know the opposite of Tawheed. Then we looked at Tawheed in Allah's oneness in His essence, for us to be khalis, pure, and to make dua based on our obedience. We looked at the word deen, we looked at mukhlas. If we want to be chosen by Allah, we make hereafter our priority. Allah Ta'ala protects us from shaitan. And then Allah requires us to establish this deen, live this deen, so that we can become examples of this deen. Yeah? Inshallah. I mean, any question about this at this point? No question? Okay. We move on to the last group of surahs then, group 6, which is Akhirah. First we will look at what are the proofs of the Akhirah. And then we will look at what is required of the people who believe in the Akhirah. Yeah? Okay, Bismillah. There are a few things. First is proof in, we will take the obvious one, from Surah Al-Qiyamah. Surah Al-Qiyamah. In fact, the whole surah is addressing this, proofs of the Day of Judgment, resurrection. Let's look at the surah, part of it. Surah Al-Qiyamah. This is Surah 75. So the proof that there is a hereafter, a resurrection. What is the proof? La uqsimu bi yawmil qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala says, I swear by the day of resurrection. Wa la uqsimu bi nafsil lawwama. And I swear by the nafs al-lawwama. What does this mean? Our nafs, our soul, it has this faculty, ability, mechanism to tell us, don't do that, that's wrong. Yeah? We said this is part of our fitrah. Lawwama means it blames you. Don't do that. Stop. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't swear, etc. This inbuilt faculty of your nafs al-lawwama is proof that there must be a result of this bad action. Does that make sense? Is it clear? Allah Ta'ala is saying to the people who are saying, how will Allah resurrect? Why would He resurrect? It can't happen. Allah Ta'ala is saying, explain the use of this instinct of consciousness, knowing right from wrong. What's the point of this? Your inner self tells you there must be an outcome. So when you do something good and nobody sees you, you feel good. Yeah? You expect something good as a result. When you do something bad and nobody is watching, you still feel bad and you fear a punishment. This is it. This is in fact the biggest proof of a hereafter. This is instinctive proof. This is called, we mentioned two signs, yeah? One in creation. And what else did we say? We said signs in nature, yeah? And what else did we say? There were signs in history. This is the third sign. The sign inside every human being. Internal signs, anfusi. Dawah is about three signs. This is what dawah is, simple, from Qur'an. Remind people of what's inside them, fitrah. Remind them of history. Tell them to put all this together and everything will make sense. Yeah? So Allah Ta'ala is saying the biggest proof is inside you, your nafsil lawwama. And then the rest of the surah elaborates beautifully this aspect. And then in the end of the surah, Allah Ta'ala asks the person, Because the main reason why people would disbelieve, or they wouldn't accept that there's a resurrection, was actually contradictory to their belief that there is an Almighty Allah. It was as if saying, Allah who created you in the beginning from nothing, He can't create you again? Is that what you're saying? But they wouldn't say that, because that would contradict the belief that there is a creator in the first place. So Allah Ta'ala, He addresses them by saying, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى. This is ayah 36. Does man think that he will be left to do whatever he wants free, without any judgment, when he's got this faculty that judges him every time he does right or wrong? أَلَمْ يَكُنْ نُطْفَةً مِّن مَّنِيٍّ يُمْنَى. Were you not sperm, semen emitted, something very, very insignificant, and then Allah Ta'ala made you into the clinging object, alaqa, and then He fashioned you, and then He made you into male or female, meaning stages of your creation. He made you like this. The one who made you from nothing, أَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ بِقَادِرٍ عَلَىٰ أَن يُحْيِيَ الْمَوْتَى. Do you doubt the one who did this in stages, He cannot create you once again? Another argument Qur'an brings is that the one who created you from nothing, that is harder, according to your standards, not for Allah. That is harder than recreating something that exists. Yeah? Because you can reconstitute something if it exists. But to bring it from nothing into something is harder, but Allah has done that already. So these are some of the proofs given for Al-Qiyamah. There is another aspect, Arabic language aspect, that I'm just going to mention at this point. When Qiyamah has been mentioned, or the resurrection has been mentioned in the Qur'an, in many of the surahs now, as you see, we're coming to the end of the Qur'an, an oath has been taken. Yeah? An oath. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا. Yeah? Al-Waqi'ah. Many times emphasis has been given. In this surah Qiyamah as well. أُقْسِمُ بِنَفْسِ اللَّوَّامَةِ. Allah takes an oath. The reason for this is as follows. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is as-Sadiq al-Amin, most trustworthy, most honest. If he is saying that I swear that there's a day of judgment, that itself is a proof that there must be a day of judgment. Did you follow that? Did you follow that? This is called Dalil Khitabi. The proof is not in what is just being said, it is who's saying it and with how much emphasis he is saying. This itself was a dalil for the people of that time. But anyway, that's a side point. Okay, so the characteristics of people who believe in the hereafter, what are they? They are given to us in one of the shortest surahs of the Qur'an. People who believe in a hereafter, that they will be resurrected, there is a count, there is Jannah, there is Jahannam, they then know how to manage their time on earth. They learn time management on earth. Allah Ta'ala swears wal asr. Allah Ta'ala is taking an oath by time and telling us time is a witness since Adam till the last person, a witness. And we have a whole course on Surah Al-Asr. You need 1 year to understand, inshallah. We will come to that. Yeah. Wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr. Indeed, all of mankind, from Adam till the last human being, by default, are heading for destruction. Illa, except alladhina amanu, who believe, wa amilu salihat, do good, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, that exhort, remind each other with emphasis, with importance, with urgency. So tawasaw is a very comprehensive word. Others about what are the facts. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, and they also, each other who believe, do good deeds, remind others, they remind each other, stick to the truth. تَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. 4 conditions, according to this surah, 4 conditions for any human being to save him or herself from Jahannam. 4 conditions. Iman, act upon it, which is Islam. Convey the message. Stick to conveying the message. Shahada ala nas, and have sabr on it. Is that clear? People who believe in the hereafter, they live a life of Iman, Amalus Salih, Tawasaw bil Haq, Tawasaw bil Sabr. The best example of this is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Best example. After the first revelation, Iqra, until the last 23 years, consistently, continuously, he did just the same thing. He received the message, he acted accordingly, and he called to it, and he stuck to it, no matter what the opposition. Clear? This is the requirement by Allah from the people who believe in the hereafter. The people who don't believe in the hereafter, they do the exact opposite. They don't believe. Their actions are not amalus salih, not accepted by Allah, even if they think they are good actions. But they're not doing for Allah. They do tawasib bil haq. No, they don't do tawasib bil haq, they do tawasib bil batil. They encourage others to do what's wrong. Fiction. And then they say, stick to this fiction. Don't follow that fact. So this is a very beautiful surah. As I said, we did inshallah 1 year course. We have a 1 year course on Surah Al-Asr, tafsir of Surah Al-Asr over a year from different parts of the Qur'an, inshallah. That's level 3 course. What we're doing is level 0 today. Because this is level 1, but it's before level 1 because it's so short. So inshallah, when we do level 1, we will do level 1, this course in detail. Then level 2, 30 sessions, 1 session for every juz. Then inshallah, after that, level 3 is whole tafsir of Surah Al-Asr, inshallah. Let's now end this section. I can see you're getting tired. But I have 5-hour drive after this, so inshallah, feel happy that you only have 50-minute drive to get home, yeah? So inshallah, you will feel, oh yes, you have more energy, alhamdulillah. Stages of the hereafter from the Qur'an. Stages of akhirah. In fact, I show you a diagram. I tried, and I like to have your feedback, to be honest, yeah? Today, in this course, I've done all by pen on purpose, because I think, and I could be wrong, I think if I just show you the notes up there, you just look at it and say, okay, that's fine. But I think that if I do it, you also do it. This is my, and you tell me if that works or not, inshallah. So, but for the last one, we'll look at one of the notes that we've got already on akhirah and the stages. It will help, inshallah. Stages of the akhirah from the last juz. Sorry, yeah, more or less the last juz. The first step in the hereafter is death. First step. Yeah, number 1. Number 1. Sakarat have been mentioned in Qur'an, which are the pains that a person goes through when the ruh is being taken out, the soul is taken out from the body. May Allah Ta'ala protect us from that. Ameen. Naza'a is also the time when the soul is being taken out from the physical body. And then we are buried in what is called qabr, grave, qabr. Marqad is, inshallah, may Allah give us a grave which is easy sleep. Ajdaf is when we come out of the grave. Things are put together, back together. First stage of the hereafter is death, maut. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Death is the separation of the physical body from the ruh. Moving on. Second, so this is the individual death. Yeah? The second stage is the collective end of the universe. As-sa'a, we call it, the hour. The knowledge of which only Allah has. it will occur with the blowing of the trumpet by Israfil. Nufikha. First blowing, everything will be put to sleep. Second blowing, everything would be resurrected. Al-Waqi'ah, it is that which will definitely happen. It is the great news that the messengers, all of them brought. It is the day which is true, it will happen. And then it tells us that the universe will essentially wind down and come to an end. End of the universe. Yeah, that's the second stage of the Akhirah. Collectively, the whole end of the universe as we know it. The third stage is the resurrection, the Qiyamah. Qiyamah means to stand in front of Allah. Al-Qiyamah, At-Taghabun means the mutual gain and loss. Some people will gain on the Day of Judgment, some people will lose. May Allah protect us from loss. We will feel as if this dunya was just an hour. SubhanAllah. If only we had yaqeen of that. This is what Qur'an gives me and you, yaqeen. We know these things, but we get weak as humans. But if we have yaqeen that this life is shorter than this session, then we would think about the hereafter more. Some faces will be bright. May Allah make us from them. Ameen. Some people, faces will be dark. May Allah protect us from that. Ameen. And the hearts, some will be very, very much at ease. May Allah make us from them. And some hearts will be in commotion, stress, because we know what we have done. Everybody knows. Fourth stage of the Akhirah, actual account. People sabiqoon at the front to enter Jannah. Allahumma rabba ja'alna minhum, may Allah make us from them. The people who are at the front in this dunya in conveying the message. Then the people of the right who did good, but the people of the left who would be destroyed. May Allah protect us from that. There will be regret. Angels will stand in rows and everyone's deeds will be put on the scales. And the heavier the scale will depend on the intention. May Allah give us ikhlas. And then after the scale and the last khutbah of shaitan we mentioned, then Allah Ta'ala, there He has put a sirat, a path, which is sharper than any object and thinner than any object we can imagine. And when we say sirat al-mustaqim, this is included, because this is the last path we have to cover. It is over Jahannam before we inshallah enter into Jannah. And we will have inshallah a nur, a light on the day when it will be pitch black. This nur will be from the belief in Allah and His Messenger and acting upon this Qur'an and the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and trying to do good and trying to spread the light. There will be believers on that day which will be able to pass over the bridge easily and quickly. May Allah make us from them. There will be munafiqeen who Allah Ta'ala will stop and punish. May Allah not make us from them. And then there will be the disbelievers also. And then there is eternal life in Jannah or Jahannam. May Allah protect us from Jahannam. May Allah give us the easiest account. Allahumma hasibna hisaban yasira. Oh Allah, give us the easiest hisab. The easiest hisab is Allah will not look at the books, will not look at the deeds. He will just enter us straight, inshallah, into paradise. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. In the Firdaus al-A'la with the Prophet Sallallaahu alayhi wasallam. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We should ask for this dua with full optimism that Allah will accept it. Full optimism. Because He's Al-Ghafoor, Al-Rahim, Al-Wadud, Dhul Arshil Majid. Fa'alu lima yurid. He can do whatever He wills. He is the one of mercy, the one who created mercy. We should never ever feel that we cannot achieve that. No, never. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Don't ever think we are not deserving Allah's mercy. No, Allah's mercy is vast. More vast than we can imagine. Expect it, ask for it, Allah will give it. Ameen. Our job is to try to do our best And we will make mistakes, and Allah loves the people who make a mistake and they come back to Him. Tawwabin. So very briefly, we have tried to cover the course, and I'm going to do now something, inshallah, to summarize it with you. And then after that, I think there are some snacks. They're here, they're coming?
Yes, they are coming.
Mashallah, they are coming. So alhamdulillah. They're not here, because if they were here, then we'd get distracted. So, but they're coming, inshallah. There is this optimism, yeah? Alhamdulillah. First group of surahs, let's quickly summarize. What was it about? Sharia, yeah? Sharia? We have to summarize the course now, quickly. So you speak, I will write. What does the first group of surahs tell us? Iman, first and foremost. Sorry, let me just rub this out because it's not clear. Sharia. Iman. Then? Islam. Then? Vision. What's the vision? Shahada al-nas. What does it mean? Quickly. Witnesses of a mankind that we conveyed the message. To do this we need to do infaq. And we need to do jihad. To do this we need to become what? United. How to be united? Have taqwa. Good. What else? Hold on to the rope of Allah. And do not be divided. How do we make a unity from? How do we start? Family. Role of husband and wife. And then we become a nation. What do we do as a nation? Establish deen. An aqimud deen. Excellent. First group. Second group. Sorry. Second group. What's the second group? Methodology of what? Conveying the message. What is it known as? Once it's conveyed, it's called Itmam al-Hujjah. You have completely conveyed the message and it's been understood. What happens if the people still rejected it? Punishment. Yes? Itmam al-Hujjah is established by showing signs in what? Nature, history, and later when we said in ourself. Good. 3 signs. This is da'wah in a nutshell, yeah? Da'wah is very easy, it's natural. Yeah? Alhamdulillah. Third group. Motivation through what? Haqq and batil, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. I'm happy that you have. Alhamdulillah. I hope inshallah Allah give barakah in this one. Haqq and batil. Haqq is fact. Batil is sci-fi. You know sci-fi? Star Trek, Star Wars. People living a life of Star Trek, Star Wars. Do you know that? People live a whole life behind this. Collect every, I can't remember, R2D2, etc. They have to collect it all. They have to. I had a friend at university, Muslim. I think he had every Spider-Man, Batman comic ever. All of them. This was a whole life. And I would say, wife, he would say, I will sell them. He still hasn't sold them. You see this fiction, don't live a life of fiction. Eh? Live a life on facts. Motivation, because haqq will always prevail. قُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقِّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُقًا. 4th, 5th and 6th. What are they? Risala. 5th is Tawheed. And the last is Akhirah. Akhirah means the last, and Akhirah is in the end of the Qur'an. Beautiful. So for these surahs, 2 sections we divided it into. The first one was telling us what about all 3? Sorry? Say? Expectations is the second thing, yeah, about this, you're right. Expectations from people who believe in Risala, Tawheed, Akhirah. How good? Proofs for this, yeah. How to give proofs of Risala. Biggest proof of Risala of Muhammad is Qur'an. And then the proofs of Tawheed. in ourselves, in creation, in history. And the proof in Akhirah was what? The one we emphasized, that there is a judgment. Nafsil lawwama, the conscience that bites. And then let's quickly summarize the expectations from the people who believe in these three things. What are the expectations of the believers in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So the relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and say again, and his mission, which is to do what? Convey the message. And we said 5 things that the Prophet ﷺ will complain about. What are they? Quickly revise them. Not believing in the Quran, not reading, no understanding, no acting upon, and not conveying. Don't forget the last one, yeah? Not conveying. We have to convey this message. We have to. Otherwise the Prophet ﷺ will come against us on the Day of Judgment. May Allah protect us from that. And then regarding Allah Ta'ala's Tawheed, if we believe in it, what will we do? What's expected? Reflect on Allah's oneness, yeah. But after that, once we believe in Allah's oneness, we establish. What do we establish? Deen. And what was the term? Mukhlis. Mukhlisina lahu deen. Purely for Allah, and He will select us, protect us from misguidance. Ameen. And the people who believe in the hereafter, they live a life as what? According to a surah I mentioned. Sorry, the question was that the people who believe that there is a hereafter, then how do they live their life on this earth, the time they spend on this earth? What do they do in this time? That's a clue. Time. Surah Al-Asr. They believe, they do good deeds, and they call to the truth. And they help each other stick to the truth. You know about this surah, Surah Al-Asr, there is a hadith that there were 2 Sahaba, Radwanullah Ajmain. They would never meet or depart from each other until and unless they would recite Surah Al-Asr one to the other and back again, to remind each other and to actually act on Surah Al-Asr by reminding each other about the truth and to stick to the truth. Isn't that beautiful, isn't it? SubhanAllah. Wonderful. So that is a very quick summary of the course, inshallah. If you have any questions, I'm happy, I'm here. And the snacks are not here, so we have, alhamdulillah, some time until the snacks come. So bismillah, please, if you have any question, any suggestion, anything you'd like to add, bismillah. Yes?
You mentioned how you should get children to recite the Quran and do the meaning.
Yeah.
Is there any recommendation for obviously children's
translation?
To understand?
The brother asked a question, he said that is there any recommendation, as I was saying, that children, when they start reading in Arabic, they must, and can start reading English, they should start reading the English translation as well. Is there a recommended translation? Not really, to be honest. The Noble Quran is one that I think we use at home. This is the one there was another one that I bought, but I think it was too big for the children. They couldn't handle it. It was difficult. So I would say the Noble Quran is easy, English, but check for yourself, is the English easy to understand? That's what I would say, really. There are other translations, but the children will find it difficult. Yeah, I think best thing is visit the bookshop and check which is easiest to follow for the children, inshallah. But there is some work being done on trying to translate it in child language, if you like. But khair. I'll try and send you a link that I have, inshallah. Yes?
Is there any way to access all this information that you provide?
Oh, excellent, excellent. You reminded me what I was supposed to tell you. Jazakallah khair. Okay. I mentioned what we've done today, this course is level 1 in a day. So we'd get more understanding, inshallah, yeah? This is level 1. Level 2 is something called the Quranic diagrammatic overviews. The Quranic diagrammatic overviews, as you can see, is every surah broken down into a central theme and its sections broken down into different themes. this enables you as students and me as students of Quran to be able to look at the surah in bits. Yep. Now, I don't know if I have internet access here or not. Maybe I have. Let's see if I have or not. And if I go to the website, there is a website, QuranicFramework.org. I don't have internet. Anyway, khair, no problem. I'll write it for you. You can look it on your phone now if you want. Quranic Framework. I think it's on the back of this as well, isn't it? It's on the back of this booklet as well, at the bottom. QuranicFramework.org. When you go to the website, you have to select QDO, Quranic Diagrammatic Overviews. Yeah, you have to select this one. Otherwise, you will go into it's not complete. So this is what you need to go into. Quranic Diagrammatic Overviews, QDO. When you go into the QDO section, you will find a video for every juz. One video for every juz. Yeah? Which follows these diagrams. Yeah? You will find the diagrams there, and you will find a study task for every juz to test whether you have understood the video or not. There are 31 videos. First video is introducing some basic concepts known as sciences of the Quran, basic. And then every video is one juz, briefly, about an hour. This introduces you to the Quran over 30 sessions, if you like. I deliver this in Ramadan, Alhamdulillah. One juz every day with the diagrams, 1 hour. So in 30 days we go through whole Quran briefly in Ramadan. I suggest you do that here, inshallah, before iftar. 1 hour it takes. We also run it as a 30-week course. In fact, you can do this on your own because it's all online. The only challenge is to keep up with it. That's the challenge. Yeah. But if you do it as a group, then it becomes easy. So you read one juz with meaning, watch the video, take your notes on the study tasks, then you can test yourself what I understood. Very good for the children, mashallah. Yeah? If you're looking at what kids could be doing, this is one very good thing. Of course, it can be improved. My kids, alhamdulillah, they have done it once or twice. So at least they have some understanding. So this is the level 2, Quranic Diagrammatic Overview. This is online. The last course is not online yet as such. It is nearly there, inshallah, which is the Quranic Framework course. It is there. I'll give you a glance into it. The Quranic Framework course is broken down into 6 sections. Yeah? 6 sections. I don't want to get into detail because I know I will lose you because it's a bit detailed. Essentially, we look at Surah Al-Asr and we break it down. It might be easy if I draw it here. We take Surah Al-Asr and we break it down. We look at Iman from about 5 places in the Quran. What is Iman in Allah? What is Iman in Risala? What is Iman in Akhirah? So we take the whole of Surah Al-Qiyamah in that. That's one session. We have 5 different sessions. We look at Amal al-Salih from the Quran. What is Amal al-Salih? We look at Amal al-Salih from the individual perspective, married perspective, family perspective, national perspective, global perspective from the Quran. What is good, if you like? We look at Tawasi bil Haqq, to exhort each other to the truth from the Quran, 5 to 6 places if I'm not mistaken, on what is Tawasi bil Haqq. And then we start looking into the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ from the Quran. So for example, Uhud is mentioned in that, to see how did the Prophet ﷺ do Tawasi bil Sabr, which is how to remain patient and steadfast in conveying the message. Again, 5 or 6 different parts of the Quran linked to the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the Seerah. And then by the end of that course, which takes you roughly, you would say about 40 odd sessions. There's another 2 things that I haven't mentioned there, introductory stuff. About 40 odd sessions, 40 weeks. You go through the whole tafsir of Surah Al-Asr from the Qur'an, and by the end of it you know that if I want to save myself, I need to have this iman, this amal salih, this is tawassul bil haqq, this is tawassul bil sabr. Inshallah. Yeah. So these are the courses that inshallah are there for you to benefit. I would suggest that, I don't know when we will meet again, inshallah, we hope to meet soon. But in between that, I would suggest you start the QDO, which is online. Start going through it at your pace. If you can do it collectively, that would be better, because that will give everybody the motivation to do it collectively if you can arrange that, inshallah. Any questions? Yes. Conveying the message to non-Muslims. This is not the best way, this is one way that we are doing at the moment. We call ourselves Meet Your Muslim Neighbours, and this is a guidebook to introduce people to how can we possibly invite non-Muslims to Islam. This is the vision, very simple, which is Shahada ala nas. What does this mean? Essentially what we're saying is that we invite non-Muslims to what is called an open day. Let me show you some pictures, it will be easier for you to understand what I'm saying. Then we will, inshallah, look at what we're saying. An open day can be in this venue, if you like, where you set up a small exhibition, chairs, tables, etc., and you can sit and talk to non-Muslim guests. Yeah, so just some pictures to show you some different setups. Most important thing is food, eh? Trust me. Have good food that looks good, yeah, and tastes good. And then you can talk, because it breaks down so many barriers, food. Yeah? It touches the heart and the stomach. Have lovely food, and then sit down and talk to people. That's my brother, Mashallah, he's here as well. He's head of catering, Brother Mujtaba. So how can you do all this? It's very simple, inshallah. Have a team. Yeah, have a team. And there are different roles. Reception means calling people in. I'll talk about what's maybe suitable for this place. Resources, posters, videos, DVDs, Qur'an that you're going to give out. How to lay out the hall. Catering. You might have audio visual like this. And be hosts. Hosts means go through dawah training. Yeah, where you can essentially remind people of what we've been talking about in a structured way. So we have a very simple course for that. And what you do is you call people in, you host them, you sit with them, you eat, and you explain Islam is this. Essentially you tell them about Tawheed, Risala, Akhirah. That's what you're telling them. Once you've conveyed that message, then you can take questions. But you've given them a framework of Islam. Then you ask them for some feedback, and then you take if they like, they keep their details. You can communicate in the long term to keep inviting them, to build links with them. This is very useful in my opinion, because it allows us to interact with the community as a community. What do I mean by that? If you look at the picture, so Saqib is there. We involve the whole family. Brothers, sisters, children, grandparents, whoever. Be part of this whole idea of conveying the message collectively. So it becomes a day out, really, to be honest. Yeah, it becomes a picnic. Everybody's having a nice picnic, and we're talking to non-Muslims at the same time. Children can have their own children's area, kids area. So we've got some stuff here we'll share with you. So we're just showing you some pictures. So kids area. So kids will have different things, coloring, etc. Yeah, for kids to come in and do. You are building your children into dais without even telling them anything. No training. This is on-the-job training. They will learn how to talk to people about Islam, be confident about their deen, and how to be good hosts, inshallah, by doing this. Common question is, how do you do this in a certain locality? Here, I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't see a lot of people outside here. But I think you might want to go down the route of inviting people, your neighbors, personally. It works in a lot of places. Another thing you can do, you can look for a busy location in town center, like a library. Libraries usually don't cost a lot, especially if it's a community event. Brother Thaqib here, he does it in Shipley Library, and Brother Zahid, etc. So you can be in touch with Saqib and Brother Zahid. And really, I would urge you, really, do something like this. Because when you start doing this, only then will you understand Qur'an, to be very frank with you. Only then you will really understand what Qur'an is. Because you need the Qur'an now. Because you're talking about it. You get it? You're stuck on a question, you need to learn what the Qur'an says. You see, the only way really, this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Qur'an was coming to him as and when he needed it to be able to invite people to Islam. Yes or no? This is the sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ. If we love him ﷺ, the first thing we will do, we will invite people, and then we will learn Qur'an. Don't misunderstand me, Don't misunderstand me, but try to understand what I'm saying. Invite people, even if you know you don't know too much. None of us knows everything. None of us can know everything. Yeah? But collectively we know quite a lot. Yeah? And when you need to, then you will learn, and then you will actually understand Qur'an, because it took 23 years to reveal. Yeah? It would take us a lifetime, inshallah, to try and understand it. So this is why I suggest you do, inshallah. But do it, please do it, yeah? Please do it. Don't leave the course and, okay, we might not do it, inshallah. Make intention today. I'm not going to write your names, don't worry. Yeah? Your intention is with Allah.